Have you ever wondered how researchers proved that smoking causes lung cancer or that prolonged exposure to air pollution increases the risk of heart disease? After all, scientists can't ethically ask people to smoke for years just to see whether they develop cancer. Instead, they observe people over time, and that's exactly where cohort studies become one of the most powerful tools in epidemiology. Unlike case control studies, which begin with people who already have a disease, cohort studies begin with exposure. Researchers identify groups of people based on whether they have been exposed to a suspected risk factor and then follow them over time to see who develops the disease. Because exposure is assessed before the outcome occurs, cohort studies provide strong evidence about the temporal relationship between cause and effect, making them invaluable in public health and clinical research. In this video, we'll explore the definition, characteristics, types, methodology, measures of association, advantages, disadvantages, and practical applications of cohort studies in a simple, exam-oriented manner suitable for MBBS students, postgraduates, nursing students, and allied health professionals. Let's begin. A cohort study is an analytical observational study designed to determine whether an exposure is associated with the development of a disease. The word cohort simply refers to a group of individuals who share a common characteristic or experience during a particular period. Researchers classify participants according to their exposure status. One group has the suspected exposure, while another group does not. Both groups are then observed over time to determine how frequently the disease occurs. Unlike experimental studies, researchers do not assign the exposure, they merely observe what already exists in the population. This is why cohort studies are classified as observational studies. The defining feature of a cohort study is its cause to effect approach. The study begins with a possible cause or exposure and moves forward to observe whether the effect or disease develops. Imagine a group of factory workers exposed to asbestos and another similar group without asbestos exposure. Neither group has lung disease at the beginning of their study. Researchers follow both groups for several years and compare the occurrence of lung cancer. If lung cancer develops more frequently among the exposed workers, an association between asbestos exposure and lung cancer becomes evident. This forward direction from exposure to outcome is the hallmark of cohort studies. Because the exposure clearly occurs before the disease develops, cohort studies establish temporality, one of the strongest criteria for assessing causality. Cohort studies can be classified into three main types. The first is the prospective cohort study. In a prospective study, researchers recruit participants in the present, determine their exposure status, and follow them into the future. For example, researchers may enroll adults who either smoke or do not smoke today and observe them for the next 20 years to determine who develops chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or lung cancer. Prospective studies generally provide high quality data because researchers collect information systematically from the beginning. However, they often require considerable time, funding, and participant commitment. The second type is the retrospective cohort study, also known as a historical cohort study. Here, both the exposure and much of the follow-up have already occurred before the study begins. Researchers use existing records, employment databases, hospital files, or electronic health record to reconstruct past exposures and determine disease outcomes. For instance, investigators may examine employment records from a chemical factory over the past 20 years and compare disease occurrence between exposed and non-exposed workers. Retrospective cohort studies are generally faster and less expensive because the data already exists. However, the quality of the study depends heavily on the accuracy and completeness of historical records. The third type is the combined cohort study. This design includes both retrospective and prospective component. Researchers begin by analyzing existing records and then continue following participants into the future to collect additional outcome data. This approach combines the strengths of both designs while reducing some of their individual limitations. Now let's understand the methodology of conducting a cohort study. The first step is selecting the study population. Researchers identify participants who are free from the disease of interest at the beginning of the study. The selected population should adequately represent the target population and satisfy the inclusion and exclusion criteria. Sometimes the study population comes from the general population. In other situations, researchers deliberately select special occupational groups where a particular exposure is common, such as healthcare workers, miners, or industrial workers. The second step is measuring exposure. Researchers determine whether participants have been exposed to the suspected risk factor. Exposure information may be collected through interviews, questionnaires, physical examinations, laboratory investigations, environmental monitoring, medical records, or occupational histories. It is essential that exposure is measured accurately because any misclassification can introduce bias into the study. Researchers may also classify exposure according to intensity, frequency, or duration. The third step is establishing comparison groups. Participants are divided into exposed and non-exposed groups. Both groups should be as similar as possible except for the exposure under investigation. This minimizes the influence of confounding variables and allows a fair comparison of disease occurrence. Sometimes the comparison group comes from within the same population, while in other situations, an external comparison group or general population rates may be used. The fourth step is follow-up. This is one of the most important phases of a cohort study. Participants are monitored periodically to determine whether they develop the disease of interest. Researchers may conduct regular clinical examinations, review hospital records, consult disease registries, perform telephone interviews, send questionnaires, or even carry out home visits. Maintaining a high follow-up rate is essential. Ideally, researchers aim for a follow-up rate of 95% or higher. When participants migrate, withdraw, or become unreachable, loss to follow-up occurs. Excessive loss to follow-up may introduce bias and reduce the validity of the study findings. The final step is data analysis. Researchers calculate the incidence of disease separately in the exposed and non-exposed groups. Since cohort studies measure new cases over time, they allow direct estimation of incidence. From these incidence rates, several important epidemiological measures can be calculated. The first is relative risk or RR. Relative risk compares the incidence of disease among exposed individuals with the incidence among non-exposed individuals. A relative risk greater than 1 suggests that exposure increases disease risk. A value less than 1 indicates a protective effect, while a value equal to 1 suggests no association. The second measure is attributable risk, which estimates the amount of disease among exposed individuals that can be attributed directly to the exposure. This measure helps quantify the public health impact of removing a specific risk factor. The third measure is population attributable risk, which estimates how much disease could potentially be prevented in the entire population if the exposure were eliminated. These measures are fundamental in epidemiology because they guide prevention strategies and health policy decisions. Cohort studies offer several important advantages. One major strength is that they establish the correct temporal sequence between exposure and disease. This makes them particularly valuable when investigating causal relationships. They allow direct calculation of incidence rate and relative risk, which cannot be measured directly in case-controlled studies. Cohort studies are also capable of studying multiple attributable outcomes resulting from a single exposure. For example, smoking may be associated with lung cancer, chronic bronchitis, cardiovascular disease, stroke, and many other health conditions. Another important advantage is that cohort studies are ideal for studying raw exposures such as occupational chemical exposures or radiation exposure. Because exposure is recorded before disease develops, recall bias is considerably lower than in case-controlled studies. Despite this strength, cohort studies also have limitations. Prospective cohort studies often require many years of follow-up before sufficient disease outcomes occur. As a result, they can be extremely expensive and resource intensive. Large sample sizes are frequently required, particularly when studying uncommon diseases. Loss to follow-up remains one of the biggest methodological challenges. If many participants withdraw or become unavailable, the study results may become biased. Cohort studies are generally not efficient for studying rare diseases because very few participants may develop the outcome even after years of observation. Finally, ethical responsibilities continue throughout the study. If researchers discover that a particular exposure is clearly harmful, they may have an obligation to inform participants or recommend interventions rather than simply continue observing. So, when should researchers choose a cohort study? Cohort studies are most appropriate when the exposure is uncommon, when researchers need to establish a temporal relationship between exposure and disease, when direct measurement of incidence and relative risk is required, or when multiple health outcomes from a single exposure need to be investigated. Many of the landmark discoveries in epidemiology, including the relationship between smoking and lung cancer, occupational hazards, environmental exposures, and cardiovascular risk factors, have relied on well designed cohort studies. These studies continue to shape preventive medicine, clinical guidelines, and public health policy worldwide. Let's quickly summarize what we've learned. A cohort study is an observational analytical study that begins with exposure and follows participants over time to determine whether disease develops. Its defining characteristic is the cause to effect approach, making it particularly useful for establishing temporal relationships between exposure and outcome. We discussed the three major types of cohort studies: prospective, retrospective, and combined cohort studies. We also learned the 5 essential steps involved in conducting a cohort study: selecting participants, measuring exposure, establishing comparison groups, following participants over time, and analyzing disease occurrence. During analysis, cohort studies allow researchers to calculate incidence, relative risk, attributable risk, and population attributable risk, making them one of the most informative observational study designs. Finally, we explore the major advantages of cohort studies, including direct estimation of incidence, assessment of multiple outcomes, reduced recall bias, and stronger evidence for causality, while also understanding their limitations such as long duration, high cost, large sample requirements, and the challenge of maintaining participant follow-up. A clear understanding of cohort studies is essential because they form the backbone of evidence-based medicine, preventive healthcare, and public health research. If this helped you understand cohort studies more clearly, hit like, subscribe for more easy to understand public health and epidemiology videos, and leave a comment telling me which epidemiological study design you'd like me to explain next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.